Hi Vogue, this is Priyanka and this is my life in looks. Oh, baby me. This is November 30th, 2000. I remember that because it was the Miss World finale. It was 18-year-old me and my life suddenly changed when I won this pageant and I was wearing this custom dress by Hemant Trivedi, very prolific designer in India that used to make costumes for all the beauty pageant contestants that went from India. I was really honored to wear this. Funny story though, this dress was like really deep, kind of like this. So I had it taped all the way, but this was like a 4-hour show and I was on stage this whole time, obviously in a pageant, so sweating away. So the tape had come off. So after I won, I'm doing a namaste the whole time, but I'm actually holding my dress up. Fashion. This was 2008, around that time. And this was one of my first like female-led movies. I had been in movies for like 4 years or something, so I was really nervous about it. I worked on it for like 6 months. My co-actors are Mugdha Godse and Kangana Ranaut, two really, really prolific actors from India, and Angana actually won a really prestigious award called the National Award with me for this movie. It was just a really life-changing movie and I had 120 or 10 costume changes in the film because it was like the life of this model, and I remember that was really talked about, that I wore like 110 like outfits in this movie because it was fashion. I'm still known by this song. So you know how in Hindi movies we have dance songs. So this is one of those dance songs which was called Desi Girl. Desi means Indian. And it basically says, who's the hottest girl in the world? The Indian girl. I literally am known by this name even now. Like people will write about it and call me the Desi Girl. And this sari was a Manish Malhotra custom creation. It was like a gray silver and it was like light chiffon, and I remember feeling just breezy and sexy in it. I had like these fans blowing my hair and the sari was moving. I had this tiny waist and it was an epic song, and it's the kind of song that's a party starter. Hey. Oh, I love this sari. This was a Ritu Kumar sari at the Marrakesh Film Festival. I was being honored. I really wanted to wear like a beautiful couture piece, and Ritu Kumar is an incredible heritage designer that we have in India, and the lace sleeves with the embroidery on the neck, with the lightness of the sari in the heat of the desert, it was just the right amount of airiness that I needed. I was really honored to be able to go to Marrakesh, and they had this like day dedicated to me. They had this incredible square where they play movies. I got to see like thousands and thousands of people just watching my movies all day. So it was really amazing to be able to take culture and to be able to, you know, cross-pollinate it into other countries. I just love to be able to work now after, you know, working in Hollywood, and I got to do incredible work in two of the largest movie industries in the world, you know, between Bollywood and Hollywood. So I feel really proud about that. Oh, this was my first Emmys. This was, I think, season 1 of Quantico, which was a TV show that I did. And I remember this was a custom Jason Wu. I will never forget the feeling of this dress because it was also my first Emmys. I was kind of feeling myself. I was very like happy to be there. You know, my show was successful. I was meeting colleagues and friends, and you know, it was really like electric atmosphere. And I remember on the carpet, just because I was like, I may have had a glass of champagne too, slightly loose. I was just dancing, twirling, and there were so many images. I remember the next day comparing me to the twirling emoji that we have, the dancing girl. I loved this dress, it was beautiful. This was my second or first Golden Globes, I can't remember, but I loved this dress. It was a Ralph Lauren beautiful gold outfit, and this neck piece that I was wearing, this huge diamond. I love the award shows because, especially like when you're not nominated or up for anything, you have a good time meeting your friends and colleagues, you're presenting. Sofia Vergara and I ended up in the same dress. Like, it wasn't the same dress, but it looked exactly the same. We hung out, found tequila everywhere we went, and then we found Meryl Streep. Oh, this video is really embarrassing. It's out there somewhere. But she and I was just really nervous to talk to Meryl Streep, and then it was a really cute moment backstage. So I'll always remember that because she and I were twinning all night. This was my, I think, second Oscars, and I was wearing this custom Ralph and Russo. It's also one of my favorites. I just loved how hourglass it was. I was at a time in my life where I was super curvilicious. Right after Best Picture, everybody rushes out to go to the governor's ball. It's a bottleneck, okay? So I was like, I'm gonna get ahead of that. I'm gonna leave before Best Picture is announced, go to the restroom, touch my face up, and then by then it's gonna be done. I'll meet my friends and everyone and, escape the bottleneck. So I was in the bathroom with my entire dress in a puddle because I had to take the whole thing off to use the restroom. And then I couldn't zip it back up myself. Finally, struggle station, I got the zipper up. And I remember I walked backstage. Halle Berry was standing like this. And I was like, what happened? And she was like, oh my gosh, they announced the wrong movie. And I missed history in the bathroom. This one was my first Met Gala. It was this Ralph Lauren look. I think the theme was Comme des Garçons. I didn't say anything when it came to this. My stylist, who was Christina Elric at that time. And it just so happened, the atelier asked me if I would walk the carpet with Nick, because both of us were going with the house, but single, alone. So I was like, this is random. And I've never done that, actually, unless I'm promoting a movie or something, walked a carpet with a co-actor, and I didn't even know him. We had, randomly texted over the last year, but maybe because I was curious, I was like, sure. We were just supposed to walk the carpet, and then we were supposed to go our ways, and I remember I walked in after the carpet was done, I took off my train, and I had a short dress underneath. And I remember turning around, and I was just alone in a room full of people that I didn't know. And I remember feeling really like my feet were stuck to the ground. I didn't know which direction to go in. And all I remember is Nick just calling out my name, handing me his hand, and just pulling me in with him. He's like, this way. And after that, we spent the whole night together. So I was kind of really heady with that. Oh, this was my next Met, again with Ralph Lauren. This was Heavenly Bodies. And I was in a really tight corset to make my body look heavenly. And I remember this veil was embroidered in India, and I was really proud to be wearing that. I loved this dress. It was so pretty. Marchesa. This was my bridal shower at Tiffany. My gosh, this was at the Tiffany store because my engagement ring is from Tiffany, and I had this fascination with Breakfast at Tiffany and all of that. It was some of my closest friends, and I remember we shut the whole thing down and we were up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Shoes were off, the feathers were everywhere, and it was such an amazing way to be kind of sent off. It was really a special night. Nick was really not someone I expected I would end up with, but he's exactly tailor-made for me. And that only happened because I had myself open to the universe. He's the best guy, what do I tell you? Look at that. Best decision of my life. Our wedding day. Oh, this was such a perfect moment too. This was Ralph Lauren, of course, because that's the reason Nick and I met, is because they asked us to go to the Met together. This was only the 4th dress that Ralph had made for anyone for their weddings, and the 3 of them were his family. It was such a special moment. I remember in the atelier with him, himself working on the dress with me. And I know I wanted it to have softness to it and a grace to it, but at the same time be sort of sexy. Ralph wanted a 100-foot train because the walk in the palace to the altar was so long, and they were like, we have to fill that space up. And I was like, I can't walk with 100 feet stitched to my head. I said 50, and then we settled on 75. So it was a 75-foot train, which was stitched into my head. We always knew that we wanted to honor both our cultures. That was important to both of us. The Hindu ceremony was Sabyasachi. It was the first time I worked with Sabyasachi, actually. And he designed both looks for Nick and I. And the beautiful thing about the Hindu ceremony's outfit was I was very specific about the red I wanted. I wanted the red to be the color of sindoor, which is the vermilion that Indian women wear when they get married. And a deep red, not too bright. And I loved that he had French knots in his embroidery and European influences in Indian silhouette because of our union. I wanted a part of my mom and my mother-in-law in both of my dresses. So my mother-in-law's wedding veil was our pillow on which our ring came, and I still have that pillow. And my mom's wedding sari was stitched onto my lehenga. So it was really intentional. It was a perfect day. Next look. Oh, my first Vogue cover. Oh, this was such a fun day. Annie is an icon. I love her so much, and I think she just has such a point of view, and I was just happy to be there, honestly. It was beautiful. We were out in these fields, and I was wearing these gorgeous dresses, and it was a fun day. This was Cannes 2019. My stylist, Mimi Cottrell, who also styled this look, and I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this dress is amazing. And then I was like, is it too bridal? And then she was like, you just got married, so it might be fine. And I was walking with Nick, so we were just like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. And that's the reason I wore it. I thought it was so much fun. It was raining, and I remember it was super romantic. Like I said, my husband takes care of all the things, so he pulled out an umbrella and held it for me the whole time I walked the carpet. How sweet. My hair was not wet at all. This was an event in Paris for Bulgari, and that necklace was ridiculous. It's one of the most beautiful necklaces for Bulgari I've worn. I walked out of the hotel in this dress, and whatever angle I stood in, it's somehow the frills just looked great. Somehow they sat in a way where your body looked amazing. It was just the genius of this dress, and Robert does that kind of craftsmanship so well. I love that hair and makeup too. This was the year my daughter was born. She was born in January, and this was June, I think. Malti Marie is always surrounded by love and family and people who care about her, and I'm very blessed. Valentino. This is Valentino, the Rome premiere of Citadel. And this fit was just amazing. I was going after Sophia Loren's look with the hair and like the eyes. You know, Sophia has this trick where she would elongate her eyes and put like white pencil underneath. So we did that. And this dress was just all things drama, and I never said I'm subtle. So this was great. Up my alley. Okay. This was Amit Agarwal. NMACC, which is the Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center launch in Mumbai. I wanted to do something which was modern, but at the same time celebrated the Indian heritage. So Amit Agarwal, the genius designer, my stylist, Ami Patel, they put together this idea. So I wanted a really modern, Western sort of silhouette. And these are vintage Banarsi saris that were stitched together to create this silhouette. I was staying at Mrs. Ambani's house. So when we were leaving her house to come to the event, my husband was like, let's just stop. And we're on the Mumbai streets, and we just stopped on the streets, got into a rickshaw, and took some fun pictures together in this dress. And I was just laughing this whole time because the rickshaw guy was just like, his expression was killing me. This one, funny story. This was custom Delcourt. It was made specifically for this necklace. Now, this necklace is hundreds of carats of diamonds. And I wanted to really showcase the dress. So I wanted something that doesn't clash with it. And I decided I was going to chop off my hair that day. And everybody talked because I was like, this necklace is great. It'll look great on my shoulders. And the next day, people were like, oh my gosh, chopped off her hair for the necklace. For the look, but I didn't chop off my own hair. I put on a half wig, chopped off the wig, guys. And everybody thought I chopped off my hair. That was funny. Ooh. Love this outfit. This was the Red Sea Film Festival in 2024, actually, last year. And this was this beautiful Oscar de la Renta. It was just cinched in. It took two people to get me into this dress. It was really, really sweet of SJP to say the most amazing, sweet things about me while I was getting honored at the festival. And just to be surrounded by these icons and be even in their company was awesome. And she's just really cool. And I remember I stepped on my dress and all the beads came off when I walked onto the carpet, and I told her, I was like, my dress just tore. And she was like, it's fine, no one can see. This was my brother's wedding. This was a custom Manish Malhotra, and I was dying to wear teal or blue. I had felt like I hadn't worn this color for a really long time, and family weddings are crazy, but Indian weddings are like especially times 10 crazy. And my mom insisted on handling all the production of the wedding herself, which meant I was her executive assistant, getting all the things together, the gifts, the return gifts, and just running around. So I needed all my outfits to not be too heavy. And I remember I took off the tulle from underneath this because this was for the actual wedding. My daughter was able to go and attend. She was the center of attention, and we like matched all our outfits together as a family. And all the designers I worked with, my stylist Ami in India, she worked with them and really customized each look for us as a cohesive look for the family. It was really cheesy, I know, but I really wanted to do it. And Malti in her little fits was just so cute. Okay, ooh, all right, 2025. This is Custom Baman, styled by Mimi Cottrell again. That necklace is 240 something carats, one piece of an emerald. And we wanted to do the dress kind of to complement the necklace and vice versa. The theme this year was super fine tailoring black style. So the tailoring was really, really impeccable in this dress. It had 3 layers. It had a train, which I didn't even wear to come to the carpet. I just took it off after I got out of the hotel. It was too much. It was raining. It was a mess. So then I had a jacket on, and the jacket comes off, and then there's a dress on underneath. So I love to simplify my outfits by the time I get through the carpet. The hat kept bonking my husband's head, so he had to kind of find his way around it, which was really funny on the carpet because I was like, I'm so sorry. We have this tradition since when Malti was born. Every time we go to the Met, she comes in when we're getting dressed, and we always get dressed together, Nick and I. So she's always in the room, like, trying on my clothes, doing hair and makeup with us, and just, spending that good quality time together before we leave. And this time she calls Nick Gaga. So she said, Mama and Gaga are going to the ball, just like Cinderella. And she said, Mama, you look like Cinderella. So she wore my shoes and my train and my hat and my gloves, and she was walking around everywhere in all my stuff. She's such a little girl. And yesterday, she literally said to my husband, he was wearing a suit, and she goes, Gaga, you look like a prince. I want to dance with you. And they were dancing for like 10 minutes. Just dancing. It was so cute. I feel like I really went through my life, and I remember a lot of things that I had forgotten. So thank you, Vogue, for that. I said, life is a sum of all its moments. Thank you for reminding me.